Alright guys, so I'm doing this for the HOG guild in 176. A couple of days ago I was on chat and saw that somebody had said that heroes don't matter, just to choose somebody with a large defense boost, and I kind of want to talk about that because it's not entirely accurate, and a lot of you guys are new players and I don't want you to get the wrong idea about how to play. So I wanted to look a little bit more about choosing your hero and what to do. So in your guild, I'm known as Sectum Sempra, and I'm just going to go through a few things about how hero boosts work and why you should choose what you're about to choose and why. So before I go forward, I would rather work or show you guys what's going on a little bit better account. That way you guys can see exactly what's going on and see a little bit more of your future should you continue to play. So let me switch over real quick and we can play or we can look at a different account that has a little bit more available. Alright, so now we're in this account. It's one of my main accounts that I go with, and it's just one of those things where it's an account I've been playing with for about a year and a half, and you can see I'm at 66 million. I'm a mostly free-to-play player. I've put less than maybe $30 into this account. So I won't sit here and tell you that I haven't ever put money into it, but I don't pump money into it like a lot of others. So I want to show you kind of the heroes and what they do and how to choose. So one of the first things to understand about who you're choosing is that whoever your leader is, not only do they have attack and defense boosts, but they also have boosts that allow you to have extra army. So when you go into an attack, and I'll show you that here in a second, but when you're going into an attack, you choose 5 heroes, and when you go and you choose 5 heroes, then you get to add on, and let me find somebody who's guildless here. You get to add on to your current army. So for example, I'll go to attack, and you can see here's all the army that I have available. It doesn't really matter what I choose because I'm not actually going to attack, but you can see here in the top right corner 200,000 troops are what available, and then I'm going to auto select my heroes. Now every hero has different things, and if we come in, you can add and change who you want. So like for example, Trickster has a research boost with him, which we'll get to in a little bit, but the research boost isn't useful in attacking. However, because of him being built up so much that he's at a level 59 gold, he actually can bring on 6,000 more troops with him. Now that's worthless because you're going to see that quite honestly nothing he does deals with actual boost to your army. So for example, I'm going to take him and add him, and you can see to the right here, over here, there's actually no change whatsoever. So when you're attacking, you want to make sure that you're choosing heroes that are going to add to what you're doing, and understand that there's a really big difference between defense and attack. So for example, Death Knight is something that I have max ranked at 2 purple here, and he's your big defense on cavalry guy. But the problem is that cavalry defense doesn't do you a whole lot of good when you're attacking, and in fact defense is weaker than attack always. So even when you're defending, so you're sitting in your castle and somebody's attacking you, your defense boosts only work when you have a wall up, because that's when you're really defending. But once your wall is down, or if somebody's attacking you on a tile, then you're not really defending, you're attacking. So with that in mind, you always want to add heroes that add attack to it. So going through, and you'll learn which ones do help and don't help. Getting to level 2 purple adds 10,000, so sometimes having him, even though it's a defense, but the troops are great. So I usually have to click off of a few of these where the actual attack don't help, and focus on a few others where the attacks will help. And that's just, and you can click through and find out which ones you have, and which ones will help you, which is why, really learning which people do which is really going to be helpful for you in the end. So we'll just pick 5 for now because it really doesn't matter since I'm not attacking. Confirm the selection, and so you'll see them here at the top, and now I went from 200,000 to 238,000, so I can add in more troops. And that's the point, is that whoever your heroes are going to allow more troops, but that's when you're attacking. So then there's defense, so we'll look at our defense and looking at your wall, and you're going to notice it's very similar to what we were looking at before, is that each one of them have something very specific. And so now, since I have a lot of cavalry, it's important for me to boost up something I have. So there's some defense, which once again, having Death Knight on the wall, because he's built up so much, sometimes you add the defense over the attack to begin with. But essentially you'll see here, you can take off and add whatever you want that works for your army composition. So when you're looking at what you actually have, you want to make sure that if you're building up kind of evenly, and we can look at my composition real quick. When you're building up evenly, where I had done cavalry, and I added all of these at 300,000 a few days ago, but then we did some attacks, and infantry usually dies first between infantry and sniper, and I'm in a kingdom where it's heavily favoring snipers, so the infantry and the cavalry usually die first. But when you build these up evenly, there's no point in having something that only specifically helps one thing, like just the cavalry or just the infantry. But when you're sitting heavy on something, it can make sense. And you can choose gear that will help out on top of that. But kind of the last thing that I wanted you guys to look at is that when we actually look at each one of the heroes, and we'll look at Trickster, he has essentially 4 skills, and some of the skills are automatic. So you see this one, this is his tactic, which means that when he attacks, this is what he's going to do, which this first one, the Psycho Blast, this right here deals 200% squad attack as damage to enemy troops, is the exact same no matter who you choose. So we'll pick Scarlet Bolt. Exact same thing, except for it's called Massacre. And that's the same no matter who you choose. Exact same thing. So and then all that is the difference between gold and the different colors. So you choose Demon Slayer, who's purple, and it's 140. So that's the difference there. So going back to Trickster though, the real main things are these 3 right here. And so what you're going to notice is that underneath each one of them, it says administration. So looking at them, administration, 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 that means that no matter what, if he's on a wall, if he's not on the wall, if he's your leader, if he's not your leader, his boosts still take part. So there is 0 reason to ever have Trickster on a lineup, because no matter what, his boosts are active. Whereas if we look at a different monster, or a different hero, and we'll look at tracker, or production, administration. So that means that no matter what, it's going there. But then you look at range, and it says logistic, which means that she needs to be active in whatever you're doing. So if you have her and she's attacking, so not on the wall defense, which she could be on your wall defense as well, but if you're choosing her when you're attacking somebody, then you're going to get that 6% at that point. But likewise, if you're defending, so if somebody is attacking you at a place where you have a wall up, you're going to gain 10% range defense there as well. But that only happens, so when you see logistic, it means that it has to be happening when they're active. So if you don't have Tracker on the wall, then her defense isn't going to kick in. If you don't have Tracker as one of the 5 heroes you choose when you attack somebody, it's not going to kick in. Now you could choose Tracker as your leader, and of course, if they're your leader, they're going to be on your wall no matter what, and they'll be usually the person that you send in to attack with, anyways. But it's very important to understand that all of these characters have very specific and very different boosts to them. Some of which really matter, and some of which don't matter at all. So, for example, Rose Knight's an extremely important character that you don't unlock until later. She has an army attack boost, which you gotta have when you're attacking, especially when you start getting into T3 and T4 fights. But then timber supply management, where it's just raising the timber production, it doesn't really matter. Not only that, but it's an administrative skill, so it's not something that isn't going to be there regardless. So just with that in mind, guys, the comment of it doesn't really matter, just choose somebody with a boost. I won't tell you who to pick, but obviously I chose Rose Knight, and I typically choose Rose Knight, but there are a lot of heroes, and they all have something different. A lot of them are very similar, but looking through here, find the one that you have, and a lot of people start off with Oathkeeper, and Oathkeeper is a great beginner's hero, but there's also other heroes that are very, very useful. So don't just accept that, hey, just put anybody on that wall that has a boost, or anybody who has a defense boost, because that's not really true. You got to be very strategic, especially right now everybody's so small in that kingdom, but when the protection ends on that kingdom, you guys are going to be looking for how do you get better, because even being 1% or 2% better than the person who's attacking you can mean the difference between losing all of your troops and losing nobody. Although, obviously in an attack you're probably not going to lose nobody, you're going to lose somebody. But guys, that's it. If you need me to do anything, any other videos, or if I see questions in the chat, I'll make other ones. But if you have questions, by all means, you can message me on Sectum Sanctra, you can put a comment on this video, or you can hit me up at FearGalactus. Like I said, this is my main account, so this is the one I spend most of my time on. So if you have any questions, please let me know.